Pawnee Business Council special meeting to order at 5:28 p.m. It is 5:50, May 28, 2024, 5:50, and the meeting has been called to order, and tonight Councilwoman Donna Hare has provided the invocation. She provided the prayer before this evening's meal and included the invocation. So we're going to go on to item number 2, roll call.
Misty Nuttall.
Here.
Jordan Canuho.
Here.
Sit here.
Here.
George Gardner here. Carol Chapman.
Here.
Cynthia Butler.
Titaku.
Donna Hare.
Titaku.
Gene Evans.
Here.
Sammy Kimball.
Here.
Okay, we do have a quorum at this time. Item number 3, approval of agenda. Are there any changes?
Yes, we do have some changes initially. So we are going to move under new business number 1, approval of resolution 2420 PTDC articles of incorporation revisions. We're going to move that into executive session. And then we are going to change under new business number 7, discussion on Pawnee Nation Cemetery. We're going to change that, take that out and replace it with approval of resolution 2423, property division procurement for property and casualty insurance. And then under executive session, we're going to add a number 2, approval of resolution 2407, Attorney General selection. And those are all the changes that I know.
Okay. Are there any other changes to the agenda?
President Nuttall, I
Yeah.
would like to recommend that we move new business, item number 10-1, before number 5. So we'll go through, if you want to do the approval of minutes first, that we take the approval of resolution 24-19, Purple Heart Proclamation, that we move that up from our agenda to expedite our visitors so they don't have to sit through all of our resolutions and such. In consideration of them, I'd like to move that.
Okay.
Thank you. Make that motion.
Okay, got a motion to approve the agenda with changes. Is there a second?
President Nuttall?
Yes, Council, or Treasurer Chapman.
I wanted to request that the budget items be placed on our next council's meeting because we approved a new method of approval and the budget committee did not use the new formal form we have in place, so we need to get that completed and put it on the next agenda, please.
Does it impact any of our business? Is there anything hot?
Any of the programs?
Huh?
Mm.
That's not underneath budgets.
Does one of them need to stay on there? HR committee?
Yeah, but they haven't done any work yet, right? So it wouldn't hurt to wait another week, or we could.
Yes, Saturday.
Is that okay? All right.
So all of the items? Budget committee?
Oh, they're okay.
So Secretary Gardefee, we're going to strike number 5, Budget Committee recommendations, and that will be set on the agenda for Saturday. Okay, so that moves, let's see here, 2 through 4. So this will be 5 and then 6. Approval of HR consultant contract will be number 5, and then the addition of approval of resolution 2423 will be number 6.
Okay.
Okay, any other changes? If not, we have a motion on the floor to approve the agenda with changes by Councilwoman Kimball. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilwoman Butler. If no further changes, we'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Aho.
Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Okay, item number 4, approval of minutes. Item number 1, approval of Pawnee Business Council special meeting minutes for April 2nd, 2024. Open for discussion. Are there any revisions that need to be made? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Councilwoman Butler, second by Councilman Evans. If no further discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Aho.
Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Okay, item number 2, approval of Pawnee Business Council special meeting minutes for April 23rd, 2024. Open for discussion. Any revisions? Um,
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting
Okay.
minutes for April 23rd.
Okay, hold on just a second.
Oh, go ahead.
I have one item number, line 140. The very last line stated that President Nuttall added that the Pawnee Nation does not have to pay the cost or follow their timeline. And I would just like to clarify on that. We were talking about the certificate of need, and that the state is moving to no longer require a certificate of need. And so then we wouldn't have to pay the cost for that. And I don't know what was referenced regarding following the timeline. Oh, I guess that's what it stated. We had 60 days to implement it to follow that timeline. So just, if you can just clarify in there, that we were talking about the certificate of need, that Brian had mentioned that the state was going to do away with that. Either that or just strike it, because it was just additional information provided.
Oh, yeah.
I'd make the recommendation just to strike it. And make that in my motion. Yeah, the sentence.
Got a motion to approve with changes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Got a motion to approve by Councilwoman Butler, seconded by Secretary Gardapi. If no further discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Aho.
Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Okay, at this time, item number 3, approval of Pawnee Business Council emergency meeting minutes for April 26, 2024. Open for the discussion. Is there any revisions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Got a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Butler. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Got a second by Secretary Gardapi. No further discussion. We'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Aho.
Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Okay, approval of Pawnee Business Council special meeting minutes for May 7th, 2024. Open for discussion. Is there any revisions needing to be made? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Got a motion by Councilwoman Butler. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Secretary Gardapi. No further discussion. We'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Before I do vote, President, were you at this meeting?
Which one is this?
Oh,
5/7/2024.
Actually, no, she wasn't.
she wasn't. Never mind.
On line 19, it says,
So she-
President is here.
No.
That'll have to be noted as excuse.
7.
Oh, line 19.
Also, lines 53 down to 64, it looks, is that just redundant block? Is that just a copy-paste error, or did we, that is for motion made by Cynthia Butler to amend the agenda to add resolution 2418 to allocate $38,000 to the
Yeah.
motor vehicle revenue,
Mm-mm.
seconded by Donna Hare. I'd like to know what the allocation was for. I mean, it just kind of leaves it kind of blank. And then the next block says a motion made by Donna Hare to approve resolution 2418.
We were amending the agenda to add the resolution, and then we were doing the next motion to approve.
To amend it and then to approve it. And
And
then
to
what
approve.
was that for?
That was the motor fuels, because we were doing, motor fuels is specific on what we can spend the money on. We were
But-
deviating from what the motor fuels compact says. So we did a motion, or did a resolution to allocate it.
To what?
Or we were, oh, the tax, which
Budget.
probably should be in the motion.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It leaves
yeah,
it kind of vague
yeah,
for me. I'd like
yeah.
to have that documented
To the tax budget.
Yeah.
To the tax budget, yes.
to the tax budget, please. Thank you.
And no, I was not at this meeting.
So you abstain, right,
Cool.
Okay.
Jordan?
Oh, okay, yeah,
Oh,
on the vote.
so you, with changes,
Oh, yeah, I'll amend my motion with changes.
Okay,
and I'll second with changes.
okay. Now call for the vote.
Okay. George Gardner, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Oh, no, good.
Donna Hare,
Uh-huh.
Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, at this time, that moves us to item number 10, under new business. Item 1, approval of resolution 2419, Purple Heart Proclamation. And I'm going to turn it over to Councilwoman Butler.
Thank you, President Niddle. The War Mothers approached me several weeks ago, I think it was actually maybe even a month ago, and they were talking about Purple Heart status for the Pawnee Nation, and the War Mothers wanted to initiate this process, and they brought in a guest speaker to come and speak to you tonight. But Miss Denise had some oral surgery, so she can't speak very good tonight, so she gave me something to read to you guys. It says, the Pawnee American War Mothers attended the state chapter convention January 27, 2024 in Duvall, Oklahoma, where Mr. Mitch Reed, ambassador of the Military Order of the Purple Heart, informed the War Mothers that tribes could obtain the Purple Heart reservation status for the reservations. The Military Order of the Purple Heart is composed exclusively of the Purple Heart recipients, and it's the only veteran service organization comprised strictly of combat veterans. The Pawnee War Mothers wanted to recognize and honor our military service members who've earned the Purple Heart for their service in the United States military. This recognition is not taken lightly, as we have Purple Heart recipients in our tribe and Gold Star mothers who will never forget their children's bravery and sacrifice in defense of our freedom, democracy, and treaty rights with the United States. And we do have several of our war mothers here tonight, and a few angels as well, representing the war mothers. And Mr. Reed and Mr. Coons is here representing this presentation tonight. But Mr. Coons, if you'd please come up, he's going to give a presentation, or Mr. Reed, I'm sorry. Mr. Reed can come up and do a presentation for you guys, let you guys know a little bit about, he did pass out some of these on the table. I don't know, not everybody got one, but if anybody wants one, to kind of see what's going on, and they're going to present this proclamation, and should be in your packets as well. Go ahead, Mr. Coons.
Thank you very much. Oh, excuse me. I'm Mitch Reed. I am the legislative ambassador and senior vice commander for the Department of Oklahoma Purple Heart. And we developed this program about 7 years ago, of making cities, counties, and tribes, Purple Heart entities, whatever. But we thought we could take the Indians. We did the Osage Nation several years ago, and then we did the Cherokee Nation. But it's right that the War Mothers be recognized along with all veterans. And that's what this program is about. And y'all can put up signs anywhere you want on your reservation, whatever. The city of Pawnee already has signs up that they're a Purple Heart city. And so, yeah, but I hope that you all will approve this, and I am honored to be here in front of you and speak about this. So that's really about all I got. Cynthia, do you want Michael Kuhn to speak?
Mr. Coons, do you want to say anything?
Honored to be in front of your National Council today. I'm the son of Philip W. Kuhn, a Bataan Death March survivor. His classmate was Alex Matthews, and they were both Haskell Institute graduates. And then they were on the Bataan Death March together. During that time, since then, I have became Region 5 commander for Native American Indian veterans. What that pertains to is over 50 states, 574 federal recognized tribes, that we now have a congressional charter. March 14th, I went to Washington, D.C. with a group of delegates from the KCA and from the Iowa tribe, Muskogee Creek Nation, and all various tribes all through the nation to have this signing at the Senate Hart Building in Washington, D.C. So for so long, Native American Indian veterans have not been acknowledged of being the highest ethnic group to serve in the military. So now, we now have that distinction as a congressional charter of our own. So now we have no DAV, VFW, American Legion. We have our own Native American Indian Veterans Congressional Charter. So that means that's in all 50 states in the United States. So right now we're working on the Constitution and the bylaws. I'm working with Mary Cully right now. What I'm trying to do right now, like the 5 civilized tribes have Director of Veterans Affairs right now. Right now I'm trying to get all the smaller tribes to have their own Director of Veterans Affairs so they'll benefit your tribe. That way you don't have to go through VA. You can reach out to your veterans here so they'll be able to have it accessible. Mary said that they have a grant that you'll be able to apply for to get your training for your VSOs. It's a lengthy process, but once you get that in your veterans organizations, your veterans will be able to come. They won't have to go to Muskogee or Tulsa or anywhere for VA, ask them to come do their claims. You can do it right here on your own tribal reservation. So that's what I'm looking to do with your executive director, work closely with her. Like I said, I'm the Region 5 commander for the 39 tribes here in Oklahoma. They appointed me after we got the congressional charter. So right now I'm working with all tribes. I just working with the Iowa tribe. We just made them a Purple Heart reservation. I made the Muskogee Creek Nation a Purple Heart Racing. KCA has become for it. So we're going to make all 39 tribes here in the state of Oklahoma a Purple Heart reservation. So that's our goal, and then we'll look to get it accomplished. Hopefully in a few years we'll get everybody in the state of Oklahoma will be 39 tribes will be registered as Purple Heart reservation, which I think is an honor to all the grandparents and parents that have for so long have given up their loved ones the ultimate sacrifice, either wounded or killed in action. And so this is a way to give back to the nation, showing that all the ones back home that were prayer and for their safety and to come home. This is a way of showing our support for our Native veterans and our brothers and sisters, not just the men, but the women now. So right now I'm looking for our women veterans to be recognized just like the man, because they signed on the dotted line just like the man did. So right now I'm looking to have tribes intertribal with men and women honor guards together, so they march side by side, not with the man leading and the women falling behind. I want them side by side when when they post colors and everything. That because times are changing now. A lot of our honor guards were the men as the ones that stepped up. Now they're getting old. They can't carry on no more. But the women are stepping up, and they're there at the side to take up the slack for our veterans and stuff. So I want the women to be acknowledged. So when you have your honor guards, even if you have a woman's honor guards, have that distinction of posting colors and stuff at your special events and everything, because like I said, it makes the women proud to let them know that they belong on that same pedestal as the men. And so that's been my pledge, to make sure that the women warriors are acknowledged just like the men. So I appreciate your time today and everything for this proclamation and everything. I hope that you agree to have it. Like Mitch was saying, we have flags. You can order a Purple Heart flag to go underneath your Pawnee Nation, and it'll have Pawnee Nation Purple Heart Reservation under it that Mitch can order special for you, and a plaque when you do your proclamation and everything through your chief, and then or the council to give, and then the proclamation will go to Mitch, and then he will return a plaque to you, to your tribe, and that way you can present that in your veterans building. What I'm looking to get right now is have directors in this Pawnee Nation and stuff, so you'll be able to take care of your vets. So that's why I'm pushing hard for all the smaller tribes to get that in place and everything. And we can get the training and everything through, which will be under NAIV. And so because now we're a congressional charter, we can reach out and we can help the tribes and stuff better. And not just one tribe where your tribe's married. Like, our tribes are intertribal. They're married into different tribes, but only the tribe can just help that one veteran. But with NIIV, we can help any tribe. It doesn't matter what tribe you're married to. We'll be able to come in and step in and help your veterans and everything. So I'm love you and everything for your time and thing today, and it's an honor being here in front of you today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kuhn. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
So we do have a resolution in the packet. It's Resolution 2419, but my recommendation would be to, at the top where it says resolution underlined, to change that to proclamation,
Okay.
because this is a proclamation. We're just
Okay.
passing it in resolution form. It's a resolution number, yeah. Yeah, we'll leave it. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for your presentation. Thank you, Councilwoman Butler.
Yes, thank you so much. I would make the motion that we accept and proceed with this proclamation, Resolution 2419, proclaiming the Pawnee Nation as a Purple Heart community.
Okay, got a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Evans. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Treasurer Chapman. Any further discussion? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. On the 8th whereas, it should, on the second line, it should say specifically awarded. We can make that change as well. And did your motion include with changes?
Yes.
Okay. Treasurer Chapman, you can concur?
I concur.
Okay. If no further discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardner, P. Yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare, Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Okay. Again, thank you for coming and thank you for your presentation. We look forward to continuing working with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. Yes,
In light of that,
Councilwoman Hare.
Mr. Kuhn, I had the honor of working with Alexander H. Matthews for several years, and he told me about being on the same ship with your father and how you guys were yelling across the, they were yelling across the ship, Noah, to each other. Yeah, and he sure laughed when he, would talk about, and so it was really important. I know that your dad was a really important person in his life. And thank you for your service.
Thank you. Jennifer, can
Thank
we-
you for that. Thank you for that recognition, too. We'll be sure and pass that along to his family as well. Thank you. Mhm.
President Nuttall?
Yes.
And just, could we get the flags and stuff ordered, the plaques and all of that? And let's get that going and recognize our veterans. Thank you.
Okay, that takes us to item number 5, infrastructure project update.
Good evening. This is Lyle McVeigh. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, Lyle, this is Chris. I go first.
Oh, this is Chris. You got it? Okay. Wrong one.
You can have next. I'll lead into that. But I
All
just
right.
want that was an amazing story. That was great to hear that. I'm glad that the council saw the need to push forward. But I talked to those gentlemen earlier, and it's amazing what they went through and given us the freedom that we have. So, on the infrastructure side, land use plan. So we've been working with Amy Wilson, and we submitted a ANA social economic development strategy plan. This is in hopes to get a land use plan paid for. So that has been submitted. It was reviewed by a proposal committee. On the design build projects, IHS drive-through garage, we actually broke ground today, so you'll be seeing dirt being moved. And then the courthouse renovations are moving along. The historical courthouse renovation, so the enrollment office is moving along. Under water and sewer, we still have the EDA proposal. Today we had a meeting talking about the budget. We've been looking to try to get an engineering firm to give us a free cost estimate. That's has become not an easy task. So the budget I've created, I'm going back through it, and then we're just going to add some costs to it to allow for engineering costs. But also, we had a meeting with OSU College of Engineering a couple of weeks ago, and this fall, when the students come back, they do a senior project. They've done a couple of things with us already, So we're going to put them on that task to help us run some numbers to get some pre-cost estimates, make sure we're in line with that. But also we have a pending SDS money from IHS, which was really a year ago, where they told us that they were submitting for those funds. So I've sent an email to IHS locally and to Oklahoma City. Haven't received a response back yet. So I've forwarded that email to President Nodal. So hopefully we can get a response, through that direction too. So hopefully we hear and we get some funding through IHS on that as well. Transportation, we have a list of 31 bridges that we ought to be submitting here probably in the next 30 days. Those are across all of Pawnee County and into Payne County, so all of our jurisdiction. I'm sure there's a few that we're missing, but these are the lists that the county commissioners we worked with and we identified that would best benefit across the whole jurisdiction. So 31 bridges. I don't have the exact cost, but we're talking $10 to $15 million that's going to be put into these bridges. Moving into energy, I won't take up too much on that with Lyle on board, but working on the Community Power Accelerator. That submission update is due May 30th. On the rep side of things, we've been moving along with data collection, working with the Housing Authority. We've hit a stumbling block, I'd say, with the oil well changing into the geothermal. The company, Freedom, they're kind of being standoffish a little bit, but we've made another connection with Enbridge down in Cushing. So they are looking to partner with tribes on different things. So this could be a good thing where we have a larger, company that's, national and international coming in with a partnership with the tribes. So trying to set up a meeting with them to see what relationship we can build with them as well. And then I'll let Lyle talk about Reconnect 3 and 4. We have not moved anything else with Canoe. I'll give that update. So under climate change, so we got an email the other day that our ladder truck is due to be delivered any time. They just gave us a final date yet. Under the ambulance service, John has been working with the state of Oklahoma and getting an application for us to become a emergency medical response agency. So this would be basically the first steps right below where we could be an ambulatory service. So part of that I know is to get a medical, person on there to do that. So that'll be with Dr. Evans. And then the helicopter pad is done. We were kind of waiting for the fire truck to be here so we could have that and have that ladder truck, and then we have a Pawnee Nation flag so we can hang from it as well. So it's going to be a good photo op time. I think other than that, been doing a lot of work on the transportation side on getting those bridge lists. There's a lot of details in that before it gets submitted, but I'll take any questions.
I have a couple questions.
Go ahead, Councilwoman Kimball.
Thank you. Chris, thanks for your report. We appreciate you.
Yep.
I just have a question relative to the bridges.
Yep.
And it's going to sound just kind of naive and stuff, but how is that benefiting the people?
So a lot of those on the county roads, we look to see where there's different tribal members, where they live or if they travel. So a lot of these areas, I'm not going to say all of them are, but a lot of them are. But there is zero out of pocket for us to do this, zero out of pocket for the county. This is 100% funding that the government is saying, here, use this funding to fix these bridges because we know it's a concern.
And do we have tribal employees that are helping with these bridges? I mean, are we part of that? The contractors, is it part of Taro? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, so all that where there's the trust and all that stuff, yeah, we'll work with Taro to wherever they can. Some of these bridges are going to be smaller bridges that we can use Taro. There's a few that are going to be the large scale that, you know, it's going to require more than just labor, you know, to do those. But yes, they will be involved throughout the whole process.
So those that are within our jurisdiction?
They're all within our jurisdiction.
They're all within our jurisdiction, so Taro would be a piece of that, I would
Yes.
imagine. Okay, great. And then I just had one more question. I understand through the Pawnee community page on Facebook that there was a couple life flights that were done over the weekend or last week sometime. Maybe I'm wrong. But is the helipad functioning today? Are we in service?
It's functional, yeah. We can use
Beautiful.
it, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, there was an emergency landing, I believe,
Was that?
is what
Wonderful, okay.
happened, so.
Wonderful. Okay, that's all I've got. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman Kimball. Vice President Canuho?
Yes, thank you, Chris, for that
Yep.
report. I do want to just ask on that Freedom question there. So Freedom currently owns those wells. Are you just saying that Enbridge would possibly be looking as more an operator opportunity?
Yeah, I would say that, because Enbridge doesn't operate, you know, they're a global entity, but they have the resources that I think we could tie in together for somebody else to take that over.
Okay.
So, and then expand from there to whatever end that we can partner with.
Okay. And with Freedom, is it just not getting any responses from them?
I just think they're, and Lyle can speak to this too, they show interest without showing interest, I guess. You know, they're talking about, they want to do it, but at the end, you know, they have to be able to do and show a profit at doing the drilling and all that stuff. So, whereas Enbridge has the ability to do some philanthropy stuff with us, so it could be a good partnership.
Okay.
Any other questions? Any questions? On the ladder truck, is the delay on their end? Is there anything that we can do, or?
No, the delay is on their end. So they went, this is a large facility that takes care of fire trucks across the whole, well, I'm going to say the whole country. And so they have a lot coming in and out, and they had just done our, all the testing. So everything that we got is going to be certified, you know, as brand new as possible on a 2011 vehicle. So, but yeah, just waiting on that delivery date now. With the height and the length, you know, they got to get their permits and all that stuff to get here. So.
Right. If no further no further questions, thank you for your report.
All right. Thank you, Council.
Mhm. Okay, item number 6, energy project update. The floor is yours, Lyle.
Thank you, Madam President, and pleasure to be here tonight. Thank you for the opportunity. So I know that Chris pretty much gave a pretty good update on where things are at. I know that, does everybody have the update that we sent over earlier today? If not, I can share my screen.
We have it.
Okay. So Reconnect 3, we had a meeting today with USDA representative. There is a new GFR, General Field Representative, that's being assigned to the project. In fact, they'll cover really all of the Oklahoma and I believe the Texas projects as well. And his name is Adam McCann. And so where the Reconnect 3 and the Reconnect 4 projects are at this stage is we've submitted all of the documentation for the close, for the grant close, which would, you know, at the time of environmental review clearance, then funding will be released and we can actually start the project under the 5-year window for completion. You know, the Reconnect 3 project, of course, we've been working on for, it seemed almost 2.5 years now, and with the last year and a half really being the environmental reviews, which started with Ponca and who we removed from the project upon their request. And right now, a lot of things are on the Reconnect 3 is being held up by the Oto Missouri, without getting a positive response. Since they're a signatory on the environmentals, USDA is working within their means to get some type of response. Now, the alternative is that USDA may elect to move forward with the project and the finding of CADEX. And once that's done, then a formal 30-day window time clock down would occur. So it's really in USDA's hands, both the Reconnect 3 and the Reconnect 4 projects at this point. We did get a little bit of feedback from the Washington as far as the documentation that we submitted. They were just looking for some clarification on some resolutions, and Pawnee staff is working to pull those out from the historical, and we'll submit those over. Otherwise, we've done about as much as we can at this point, and it's really in USDA's hands. The Rural Energy Pilot Program, as Chris noted, is got I would say a hiccup at this point with Freedom Operating Company. I believe that really where Freedom is looking at is that the IMDA lease is something new that they have not worked with before. Their initial analysis was that the IMDA lease has a lot of additional reporting requirements over the traditional leases. And I think that what we're dealing with here is really just more of it's just not something that they're used to working with. And the reason we're going down with the IMDA is that it's a more flexible lease that can be modified at any point in time within the duration of the lease, where the traditional one is not modifiable. So that as conditions change, through the operations of the well, say over the next, 5 years or so, then the terms and conditions can be renegotiated under the IMDA. So it is taking definitely much longer, and we're looking for alternatives. The other side that is causing an impact there is that from a profitability of operating the well, Freedom Operating Company largely is a gas recovery operator, and with the prices on natural gas very low at this stage, they anticipate that being able to have a profit of the operational costs is of concern. So that's where the Rural Energy Pilot Project stands from the sense of the well operations. We are working with Pawnee Housing Authority to move forward with identifying additional households for the energy monitoring systems. And one of the things that we've discussed over there is having possibly using WEX workers to go house by house and be able to have some discussions with homeowners, getting in some samples of the energy devices and getting those hooked up so that where we can start publishing some data so that people can actually see in real life what does that look like, and how can they benefit from their own households. So the Affordable Connectivity Program was shut down in February by the FCC. Congress has not extended any additional funding into the ACP program. And as a result, the awareness and outreach funding is continuing to be closed. And so the recent word is that August is the time frame for final reporting deadlines. And we're working between now and then to get those areas covered. Community Power Accelerator, that, as Chris mentioned, we have a deadline this week for the CPA program in terms of getting an update out to the Department of Energy, of which point the project will advance into the next funding stage. And the general concept behind the Community Power Accelerator is to build a 5 megawatt, ensure that the facilities and the infrastructure are 100% owned by Pawnee Nation, and to operate the facility under a cooperative model. And so, one of the areas there that we've been looking for some feedback on is, how to get the cooperative model approved, after which, we've either had discussion with the council and a working committee or through the Pawnee Business Utility. And I know we've been working closely with Chris on this as well. So that's really all the updates at this stage. And if there's any questions I can answer.
Are there any questions from council? I don't believe there's any questions on our end, Lyle. We appreciate your report. I guess, Chris,
Well, thank you.
You'll be working, or you'll let us know as to, regards to the cooperative model, who you think best, would be able to address that situation, whether it be PBC or the Utility Commission, so, right.
And also, I did have a discussion with Lyle this morning about that as well, and I did recommend going to commission, since the commission has talked about creating. I think that'd probably be the first step.
All right, thank you, Vice President. At this time, we'll move on to item number 7, behavioral health update.
Hello, council. How y'all doing today? So, in our monthly report, just to give some updates, you got to see most recently our sheathing is pretty much completed. So now you get to see kind of what the building's looking like. That's that kind of yellow wall on the outside that you're seeing. Currently, we are working on the interior framing. We're about 80% done with the interior framing, which now we have MEP, which is mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, which will be kicking off in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And that's just, allowing folks to come in and putting that stuff up before we start doing the drywall. So right now we got the first layer of our roofing, probably about mid to end June. You'll see the complete roof done on the Behavioral Health Center. So we're currently moving on with that. Our construction timeline has shifted. It was moved from January 8th to about February 5th. It's just been a rainy season. Most of that's just due to a lot of the rain and weather that we've had in the last couple of weeks / months. So that's where we are on the construction side of it. We continue doing a lot of the program and development side of stuff. So currently we're still looking at our licensings, making sure that we go through the right protocol and steps with that. So we're continue reaching out to some of our stakeholders. So we met with our substance abuse program. We met with IHS. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to meet with some other stakeholders like Grand Lake and Creoaks that provide some behavioral health services in our community as well. So that's just given us better insight of, strengthening our program services to make sure that we provide those necessary services to our people. Based off of that, that's also going to give us our staffing model. We're about 80% done with that. I shared some information to Stacy Burns as well as Miss Eastham out of Meridian. They provide some services in partnership with the college. So we've been sharing that information on the workforce development side of it with those two entities and organizations. Let's see. In our continuing effort with the community side of it, we are reaching out to some of the neighboring tribes that provide behavioral health services and seeing what programs they have, going through their processes of what they do on the billing aspects and making sure we kind of fall in line with that. Ascension is going to be here. We're going to have a booth set up at the health fair on July 3rd. So we will have a couple folks here for them, so we always encourage people to come and meet them and stuff. They were at the groundbreaking, so it gives them an opportunity just to continue engaging with the community. Let's see. Outside of that, that's what I got. Open any questions if y'all have any.
Council, are there any questions for Mr. Kirk?
I have a few.
Yes, Councilwoman Kimball.
Thank you. Brian, thank you for your report. You say that we are doing this and we are doing that. Who's we?
Who's we? It's myself, a couple of people that's on our work group, so it's Ascension. So it's Chris Watrous. He's kind of our project lead on the Ascension side of it. And then depending on the topics, he'll bring a couple of their folks in. If it has to do with like workforce development, they got their HR. If it has to do with billing, they bring in their specialized folks that be part of that. We also, part of our monthly, we have meetings with IHS, so they help us. So we've been meeting a lot with Ms. Joyce over there and many different folks.
Okay. The reason I ask is because when is our goal to be opening doors? When are we going to be ready to move? When is that happening? When is that? When is the go live, if you will?
Go live is opening doors will be pending approximately April of 2025.
Okay, so we're about 11 months out, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so my thoughts. I think that we need a national search for a CEO now. So that person can start getting his team in place and being the direct contact to start recruitment. I don't know how we're going to get the caliber of professionals from our health fair recruitment. I mean, we need to go big and we need to go large to make this a successful program. I highly recommend, that's why I'm asking you, who's involved in this? I would imagine at Ascension, they've done this before, that they're driving this, but I haven't seen anything coming out of our nation to support this thought. So I would say, and council, you might agree, that we need to get a national search started. And we're going to be talking about people perspective in a little bit, and we're also, which is going to be doing, possibly doing some work for us. But we, on a national level, need to search for somebody to take this reign. Mm-hmm. We also need to be mindful of the logistics, for staffing. So we know that they can't live in Pawnee unless we have a miracle of, residences that are opened up. So we really do need to have somebody in place to get that moving. And that would be my recommendation, just like right now.
Yeah, I mean, we have that built into our plan, like 6, 7 months before opening. It will be on a national level, but currently, we are still trying to develop the programmatic side of it. It's still within our realm to make sure that we have a high-end CEO. At the end of the day, it's still preliminary, but we'll continue that. We have it in our schedule that we will make sure that we'll do recruiting on all levels to make sure we get, top talent for our facility.
Right, I'm talking about the person that can be a part of recruitment for his staff, for his team, her staff, right? And being on the ground, watching it build, having a little piece of that, to own, a little ownership of it, to drive it. And I'm just saying, it's just my opinion and my recommendation is to probably do that sooner than later. That would be my talk tonight. I'm reading all of this and it sounds great. I've seen the progress of the build of the mortar, if you will, but I haven't really seen a great enhancement of how are we going to be successful, right? We want this thing, we want it launched, and we want to make sure that we have just that right person, and sometimes that takes time. So that's all.
Yeah, well,
Thank you, Councilwoman Kimball.
Thank you.
Brian, if you can just take that back to Ascension, that
Thank you.
PBC has expressed concern with regards to the hiring plan, and maybe that's something that they can report on or include in their report as well, that we know the
I
development.
appreciate it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Treasurer Chapman.
Yes, thank you for the report. The Ascension consultants that have been working with you, Brian, they're going to be here on Health Fair Day. I would like to make a request that these really strong points, good points have been made, and I would like to make a request that while they're here, if you could let us know or set up a meeting
that'd be great.
with the Ascension consultants while they're here to meet with the board, our board of the new health facility, and for any other council people that could be available to personally visit with them so that we can share with them our concerns about getting the most highest quality, highest experienced people we can get to start this, and a CEO. As I have been listening to the meetings, it is often referred to as a psychiatric hospital, that the billing is going to be done as a psychiatric hospital, and the focus is mainly around mental health.
It is?
So it is real important that we get a really highly qualified person who is skilled in the area of psychiatric care. And I agree with Councilwoman Kimball, this is very important, and I think that we could start it right now. So if you could get a meeting set up with us, while it's during the 4th, we'll all be here. And for those of us that could meet with them, we would most certainly enjoy the opportunity to meet them face to face while they're here and share our concerns. Thank you.
Is that July the 4th is the health fair?
It's 3rd.
July the 3rd, okay. I would really wish that the council could have lunch or a breakfast meeting with them that
Right.
day. That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Treasurer Chapman. Secretary Gardapi.
So, my trade is construction, so I'm just curious. I know we've had this problem in the past. Who's doing the inspections as we go? Do you have an outside firm that's
We have a
doing that?
third party.
Because I know in the past, the contractor was the one doing the inspections. So I'm just making sure that we're not having that this time.
No, we have a third party, and then depending on different levels, we have also the architect comes out and does his inspections, a lot of those are prerequisites of our billing and our drawdowns before we actually make any payments to any of our subs. A lot of those reports are reported, and the banks sign off on those. So those are one of the requirements, but we do have a third party outside the nation, as well as the CEM that provides those inspections to making sure that everything's to the T.
Okay, well, I just want to tell you that it feels good seeing it go up, so.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Vice President Knuckle.
Thank you for your report, Brian. I guess another thing too that the council also needs to consider as well as we're talking about having the high caliber individuals in these positions is also the board. Currently right now, we just have myself, Treasurer Chapman, and President Nuttall serving on that. We're more considered incorporators rather than the board itself in that sense. And so I think that's another needed group of individuals that I think needs to be there to bring on that type of high caliber individual, because off the top of my head, I don't have anybody in mind who's a high caliber person who's in that field, but I'm sure if we find board members who've worked in that industry, can find those individuals and know the right people in that regard. So I would just bring that to the council's attention, that we want to make sure we want to not let that linger as well, and that's also a very important key aspect to this success of the behavioral health facility.
We probably want them sooner than later as well. I mean, we need them now. We need, and nothing against anybody, but we just need experts in the field to do this work. We want professional board members. Mm-hmm. Just like we want professional people running our gaming. I mean, we want professionals. So we're not going to just pick and choose board members because they live here in town. We want somebody that is experienced, and I think that is going to be a now sooner than later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Brian, for your update. At this time, we're going to item number 8, Eida Tutakitsu Program Update.
Thank you. Noah, Pawnee Business Council, Dadasa Paruskatari Ra'u. I'm a member of the Riding In family, a descendant of Lotus Walking Bear, who walked down from Nebraska. I serve as the Iriraruta Kichisu Initiative Navigator. When I came on in February, I was hired through the Indian Child Welfare Programming to help learn as much as I can about the Tiwahe funding that we have been awarded through the Department of the Interior. So I am a navigator in the sense that I'm helping us as a nation, our administrative office, our business council, our burgeoning behavioral health facility, and those who have been through recovery, who have been through mental health institutions, who consider themselves ex-offenders in the incarcerated systems. It is my role to help with planning for our own social services division at some point. It's on down the road, but it's the idea that we can construct and design our own services that serve our people. I'm here to give a report that I started officially on March 25th, and I'm just going to follow a little bit of my program report, but not all of it, so I won't bore you. Like I said, this is an opportunity for our tribe to design programs that help us build out our family systems, many of which have been impacted by incarceration, by institutions such as the boarding school experience, through the removal of Native children from our Pawnee families, and those could be a number of circumstances, but it's part of my role to help us understand and put our finger on the pulse of how we came to be where we are with some of our challenges, why we don't always give each other the grace that maybe we should and could if we understood the challenges of mental health in a lifespan. So I love being positioned with the executive, with the administration at this time. There will and may be a point that it is its own department. Maybe it's its own aligned with the behavioral health facility or other family services. It's a unique year in that we were awarded a $100,000 incubator grant funding to hire a coordinator. Other tribes such as Red Lake Nation, a Ute tribe, Pasquayaki in Arizona, they have started out by just getting on the ground and talking to their people, talking to people who had been through challenging experiences. And a lot of times those families need support. They need a plan. Sometimes they might need a way to get bed bugs out of their home. Sometimes there are barriers in our housing, barriers in our employment, how to move up or progress as we try to rebuild our families and our community. So some of the things that I've been up to is meeting with the BIA. Madam President sat in on the call, and our ICW coordinator sat on the call where we talked about what does our current state compact look like? What does that look like? What does the contract look like? What are we exactly paying Oklahoma DHS to do when we do sign into some of these agreements? So really trying to pick apart some of those issues that might be impeding our families from thriving. I volunteered at the Indian Child Welfare Child Abuse Awareness Walk, and 108 people came out on a Saturday morning. It was beautiful, great teamwork. What hurt my heart the most is that some of our elders are still disheartened to report child abuse because they're afraid of the implications back on them. And that hurts, but that shows us where we've been as a people and places that we could work together to heal. I was grateful to go to the high school health fair. The education department was there, Violence Against Women, Mike Ortiz with the substance abuse program, and prevention and Indian child welfare all led sessions. My session was facilitating dialogue on mental health, and one of the issues that did come up in our community was racial disparities, racism, what that looks like in the school setting, what that looks like in the community. So it makes my heart feel good to know that we are doing different keystone initiatives within the tribe to address those things. Let's see. Again, this is a planning year for the OIA funding. We have consulted with Herb Adson and the Cultural Resources Division. Ms. Jen Gover went and made sure that the name that we utilize is meaningful and relevant to the work that we do. So, Eriraru Takichisu, those whom we belong. That's our kinship. That's our relatives. That's who we come home to when we have the homecoming and we come together. So, it's a planning year. I'm very aware, of the behavioral health facility, that it's a brick and mortar and it has a lot of things that need to be done administratively, but there are a lot of things we can be doing to put our ear to the ground for those that have been through recovery, that have been or are currently incarcerated. There's just a whole area of understanding that we need to dive into to understand the demographic that we're going to be serving. It's a planning, it's a 1 year. The wonderful thing about it is that other nations are seeing success with an expanded funding model. So after the first year of $100,000, with the support, of course, of Congress and also the voice of our leaders, we are able to qualify for up to and please correct me, a $3 million grant every year, but they don't like to call it a grant. It's a funding, it's not supposed to have restrictions on it. It's supposed to be specifically for us to start designing and implementing social services, social supports, and helping our people navigate through our own changes. So if you see me floating around the court sometimes, It's to visit with our judges and see what training they might need, or the clerks, what training they may need that we can help bring in more future funding on. I'll just end with telling you 2 of the grants I'm currently looking at for expanding or moving forward would be Office of Juvenile Justice. There's a mentoring for children of incarcerated parents. And also SAMHSA has a national peer-run training and technical assistance center for addiction recovery. So I understand that listening, it might sound like is there duplication of services, but I think we have to kind of understand the whole ecology, the terrain, how we interact right now to make a plan to move forward. And I'm really grateful that the current directors of the existing programs are happy to have me by their side in the meetings. It doesn't feel turf war-ish. It's like, okay, help us see what we can't see. And hopefully I can help do a little bit of that while I'm serving the nation. So if you have my report or you have further questions or you need further answers, I do work through the executive office. I submit my monthly report through them. And I would like to be involved if you do have this meeting in July with Ascension or these other things, because sometimes there are just little moments where I'm hearing that people want to heal, but they don't know how to say what they need. And I think those communication skills can be built through just continual conversation. So I'm here for this year and hopefully further beyond that. I hadn't introduced myself to the council in my capacity, and thank you for your time.
So you don't report
Thank you, Electa.
You don't report to Tiffany?
When I came on, I initially did under the ICW. I did initially. So I helped her with some of the Mental Health Coalition. I learned what she was already doing on the ground with the county, which I think is a very beautiful thing. I work with her as much as she needs or wants me to. I offer support. But at this time, I don't work directly, I guess you could say, under her. So.
But it's part of you're part of social services? I mean, I really,
It's a planning, yeah, go ahead.
I've never even seen your job description. I don't know what's going on, because last time I saw you, we were talking about seeds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just am interested, if you're part of the social services division, then you're not working with social service, I mean, you're really working with her, right?
Right.
Okay.
And she can answer anything she needs to,
Yeah.
but at this time and this year, it's an administrative capacity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Electa. Any other questions from council? If not, we thank you for your report, and we do look forward to hearing, your findings on the exploration of our social services. And like you said, you do identify that there are duplication, but that's what we want to be able to do, is find out where we're duplicating and then, find a more efficient way to provide services. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll move on to item number 9, the tax program update.
Good evening, everyone. Madam President, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I first want to apologize. I'm not there in person. I really would have liked to have been there to see you this evening, but I was on a vacation and I just got back. So I want to apologize for that, but I look forward to next month when I will be sitting in front of you giving a report. I first want to just introduce myself. I know there's some that I know, there's some that I do not. So my name's Mary Mashunkashay, and I am an enrolled Osage and Pawnee descent. I'm from the Behel family, and I have been doing tribal taxation for about 28 years now. I sit as the national chairwoman of the National Intertribal Tax Alliance, and looking forward to working with the Pawnee Nation to expand your tax department and your commission. I want to go ahead and jump right into the report. I know you've I'm at the end here, so I don't want to take too much time. I just came on board just about 2.5 weeks ago, so everything is really right now just looking into the tax code, looking into what needs to be looked at and taken care of first. And I think if you look at my report, it's very short. I did an introductory report this month just so we can kind of touch on where I will be going. So in the month of May, working into June, what I really want to focus on is the tax commission itself, the tax commission body, the board. I reviewed the tax code and really looked into it and found really a need to restructure the tax commission. I kind of put the top three, which is the number of commission members that you do have, their roles and their duties, and how they do their work as a commission and over the department, and then also their titles. So these are really what I'm going to focus on in the next month. I want to really dig into the commission. I will go in and amend the tax code and put in all of my recommendations for the council to review. There will be some big changes. I really, want to prepare you for that. When I come in, what I want to do is really just look at how the whole department as a whole is working, how they are producing as far as revenue, how the revenue is being generated, collected, how the department itself is being run. So this all falls back under the commission board as a whole. I know that right now there is no commission in place, so I think it's important for us to address that first. I will be working with Lyle in the office, and one of the main changes that I'm going to recommend to you, and I think it's very important as we move forward, is how the department itself is the oversight of the department. So I will be making those recommendations as well. I did kind of touch on it here in the report a little bit. I didn't want to get into too deep because I want to be able to go in there and make all the amendments and prepare it and then present it to you. But I also wanted to just let you kind of know what I will be working on to prepare you. I believe that having a tax administrator and looking at the positions of your staff is very important. And so how they report, who they report to. And once we get the commission and we get the amendments made and those decisions from you, then we will be ready to move forward into the structure of the department itself and making those amendments and changing the overall structure of it. The way that I have been reviewing all of the documents and how Pawnee Nation is laid out as a whole. And so there's a lot of parts to it. I understand that. So I will be reviewing all of that as well on your commissions, how you set up your commissions, how they have their terms. I also think it's very important as an independent agency that these boards or these commissions, in this instance, a commission, that it is structured under the tax code very firmly so that they know exactly their roles. And of course, we'll incorporate the commission law itself. And I'm hoping that we can intertwine those two because it's real important that the tax code itself controls all of the work that is being done under the tax code. If you, I hope I'm being clear. And the first hurdle is going to be trying to intertwine all of these laws that you have to make sure that the commission itself is going to be structured in an adequate way so that they can perform the way they should. And the department head of the department, the tax And we'll have to look at the name, if you want to call it tax department, tax commission. We'll move into that later, but I believe you have to have a tax administrator. I call it administrator because that's what they do. They administrate the law. They administrate the codes. They take care of the revenue. So titles are very important. Also, I'm going to go in for the next month, and it's going to be a large report. It's going to be a lot right in the very beginning, but I want to be able to go in there and write the descriptions of and duties of the staff itself, along with the commission, and hopefully structure it where the department itself will be under the executive director, and then we'll look into how the HR law is and design it from there. Along with that, we will have to design the internal policy and procedures for the tax commission, the tax administrator, so that they can begin to work and start moving forward. Then once we get all that set, really that's like starting from the ground up, because that's how we have to look at this as we come in and restructure a whole department, is we have to think about it as brand new, we're starting brand new from the ground up, because we want to make some positive changes. And I think that, and I'm not saying that there's going to have to be a whole total change. There's a lot of good law. You have a lot of good law. The body of the law is pretty much where it should be. I reviewed the whole code. I've been looking at it for a while. There's a lot of amendments that do need to be done. There's a lot of taxes that can be added. We're missing a lot of taxes that I think would be advantageous for the tribe itself. The work that the tax department is going to do as we move forward to work along with Taro. Taro is going to be a really an important part of how the tax department's going to grow. So it's an exciting time. I know taxes are not the most fun thing, but it is exciting, because taxation, and I always use this quote, you'll see it in all my reports, but taxation is given back to your people in the nation. As we move forward, taxes aren't something that everyone wants to pay. As we grow, we're going to get pushback, which, as leaders, no matter what direction we start moving forward, we're going to get pushback, and that's okay. As you know, as we move forward, if we have our law in place, we have our staff trained and ready to go, then we will do nothing but grow and succeed. And that's what I want to see for the Pawnee Nation and the Pawnee Tax Commission. So if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them all. If you want to talk to me and have any questions after this evening, absolutely feel free to call me and talk to me. I'm excited about the work that's coming. It's going to be an absolutely positive thing for the nation, and you're going to see the revenue just grow and grow and grow, which only helps our people. I'm Pawnee too, so I want to see our people succeed. So I appreciate this time this evening. I look forward to working with all of you, and with our executive director and with the tax department. So I appreciate this time. Thank you.
Council, are there any questions for Ms. Mashankashe?
I just have a comment for her.
Yes.
Mary, this is Sammy. I'm really happy that you're on board. I can't wait for you to dig in and help us generate the revenue that is ours anyways, that's intended for us. And looking forward to your work with our Taro program. It's going to be exciting, and it's going to be a good time for our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman Kimball. Any other comments? Okay, that's all the comments we have, Mary. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for your time this evening. And yes, we look forward to hearing from you and how you want to see our tax department grow and, like you're saying, flourish. So we enjoy it. If This time.
Thank you.
Yes. At this time, we'll move on to item 10.2, which is approval of Resolution 2421 Health Advisory Board Act.
President Nuttall?
Yes, Treasurer Chapman.
I was reading this, and I would really like to request, if the council does, that we get, because I was talking to our governing documents person, we did not get to review any of this or discuss this as a private work group or as a council independently, and it was quite extensive. I would like to see the grant. I understand it came from a grant from several years ago.
Yeah, so I just want, just so everybody can clarify, this comes from, this is a recommendation. This comes from the IHS Tribal Management Grant that we were awarded a year and a half ago, I think. The IHS Tribal Management Grant. And part of the objectives, the first objective was for us to establish a health board. And so that's what this, the grant paid for, was this, to create this. And so as part of that grant, this is what was sent to the governing documents for their review. And they made some recommendations and some changes and recommended it to the council for approval. And so that's why it's before you today. Now, I know some of it, and I don't know if everybody had a chance to review it, but it's up to you guys how you guys proceed with it, so. I think Leaders LLC?
Yes, Leaders LLC is the consultant for the travel management grant.
I would say I'd like to, before we even have Angela have to talk to it, to speak to it, I'd like to just move that, we move this to our next council meeting, so we have an opportunity to read it and understand it. I'd like to make that motion. Thank you.
I'll second that.
Do you
want that
want
on
it, or
Saturdays?
you want it on the special meeting or on the quarterly council meeting?
Not quarterly, our next regular meeting, I'd like to be able to talk. Thank you.
That's June 4th.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to move the item to the June 4th meeting. Is it 4th or the 3rd?
Isn't that? It's the next one, June 4th, okay.
Yes,
June 4th
to the
is our
June
next
4th
meeting.
meeting.
Okay.
Is there a second? Oh, I got a second by Treasurer Chapman. Any further discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Uh-huh.
Dean Evans,
Yes.
Tammy Kimball.
Yes, thank you.
At this time, we're moving on to item number 4, approval of resolution 2422, ARPA allocation, storm victim assistance. Who will be presenting on this?
Yes, this is, we have some of the cards left over from the last emergency, the state of emergency that Oklahoma had. And I believe there's 100, how many cards are left? There's 125 cards left. And so we wanted to be able to allocate those to this new state of emergency in case anybody wanted anything. I know Social Services has had 3 calls, but those cards are just sitting and not being used, so.
Well, hold on. To begin with, I'm sorry. I'll wait until you're done, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I have a comment on that.
Hold on just a second. Finish your,
So we wanted to use those, but we can't use them until we have a new resolution because they are assigned to the other emergency storm. So we wanted to make it to where it could be used again.
And they're for 250 each, right?
Yes.
okay. Councilwoman Kimball, would you like to?
Yeah, I do. You know, I was really disappointed when we had the tornado that ran through Barnstall. How many people had to boil their water? I think Sky, I think you finally got that lifted last week, right? We have Pawnee people that live in Osage County, and no one reached out. I had to ask you to handle that, reach out to those people. What do they need? I know Osage Tribe was all over it. They had a trailer up there. We didn't even have a canopy with some cases of water for our folks. And we can do better. We have to do better. But I'm opposed to just handing somebody a $250 carte blanche. That's a lot of money. And we're asking, let them come in and have a needs assessment, like the elders do with their energy bills and what have you when we're helping them. We have to establish some type of criteria, do an application. Okay, so you have a family of 5 and you don't have groceries and you've been without electricity. We have women that have 3-4 children without electricity for a week, no groceries, everything's spoiled. We can do better. We can do better, and I'm not going to do this. I think that we need to go back and draft a plan, get a plan. We have the elders again. People have to do an application for stuff. Let them do the application and find out what their real needs are. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Kimball. Councilwoman Butler.
I know you kept saying that it's the same emergency, but just like the state and the counties and the federal government, they do new state of emergencies because these are different counties. So therefore, we would have to do a new state of emergency resolution to declare our tribal members in state of emergency. So I would like to ask for a resolution to do that so then we can serve our people. That should have been done in the very beginning when it was brought up, and I'm not scolding anybody, I'm just saying that should be our first thoughts whenever we think about state of emergencies or when we think about when our people are in need. That would be my first recommendation, is that we do a declaration or a state of emergency resolution so that we can do this.
Correct.
And then whatever the other recommendations are.
Correct. I agree.
President Nunn, I would also like to say my concern is that the council did discuss this earlier. We knew these cards were available, and we did discuss that we did not want them spent before unless they were spent on something that is really going to truly meet the needs of our people. Not saying that's not a need, but it was really going to be the choice of the council, but instead it didn't come to the budget committee because it's written for 49.5, which is just under the level that you have to come for. So I believe that it should go back to it bypassed the budget committee and it bypassed the council. And I would recommend that the council take that issue back up again, since we were the ones that put the hold on it, to decide what is the best need. I like the needs assessment idea. I know school will start again. Our kids are out for summer school. And last year, as in many years before, our parents were requesting money for items and clothing for their children to go to school. And there are many needs out there. I just feel like maybe we should do a comprehensive needs assessment. It's good to do the resolution for the other, because we do give a lot of emergency funds. I'm not opposed to that. But on this, I would like to have a stronger needs assessment for this. And also it's ARPA funds, and it just was under the limit where it did not have to come to the budget committee.
Right.
Actually, if I could make a comment on that, that's how much is left, is that amount. So that's just the amount that's left on the cards, the total amount from all the cards.
Okay, at the time, I don't think that was the case. Have any of those cards been given out? previously,
Nope,
since we
Nope.
made that decision?
nope.
Okay. My request still stands that we
Yeah.
place a hold on it. I
Okay.
make a motion,
Yeah.
we place a
Thank
hold
you.
on it.
Thank you, Treasurer Chapman. Councilwoman Butler.
I just had one more question. Do we know the count of how many of our tribal members live in those counties?
We do. We have received 3 requests so far from people in those counties.
But you haven't got with enrollment to find out how many live in those
Have we
counties?
reached
Yes,
out?
yes, we have those numbers.
Okay.
But we didn't want to do anything until we had
But
an
have you
approval.
reached out to the OSHP, to our tribal members by letter or email or something saying, hey, we're here, we can help, come in, we've got forms to fill out?
Yes, we did. We posted something on social media and let them know where to contact to.
Right,
on
and
the
you only had
website.
3 people?
We had 3 people reach out.
Well, I know there's a whole lot more people in need up there.
And
Okay.
we want to help. We are,
Okay, I think what is being stated is to come up with some kind of protocol, because now, we're talking about the storm that happened that affected, the Barnsdall area. Well, now there's also been damage in the Claremore area. So I think, along those lines, we need to come up with some kind of protocol when there is some kind of natural disaster in the state. Make note of that, but also, we do have programs in place to address this with our emergency assistance.
yes,
And that's
Emergency
more
management.
than the 250. There's an application process in place, so maybe
Yes.
get with, Tiffany and find out.
yes. And
what can be done.
that's what we've been doing. However, with that funding, you can't buy food. It is, that the money goes to the vendor themselves. It doesn't go to the household. So this would be an easy way, say if someone lost all their food, or they're using their money to pay utilities, and they could use this
Right.
to purchase food. And there is a form that we use for emergency services that John James used. It's a screening process. It's the same thing we've always used. So we do have that in place.
Okay, so utilize those and get with Tiffany and develop a comprehensive process. Like I said, in the case of natural disasters, that's not just limited to emergency assistance, where you can incorporate, or account for the purchases of food and those types of things where they do have a true need, versus, paying a vendor. So I think that's the recommendation from council. Now, we'll go back to item 2422, ARPA allocation. What's the, Treasurer Chapman, you had wanted to make a motion?
Yes, I did. I wanted to make a motion that we place this on hold until we, as a council, can make a decision, get some options as to how best to spend the money, since we did place a hold on it
Yeah,
initially. Or anybody want to add anything?
I would like to append it until our quarterly meeting and have the executive director and her team bring us a plan for Saturday's meeting. We need to move on it because we have people that are displaced, we have people that are without, we have families without food, that is spoiled, and they're doing their best to recover from this. I mean, this has been weeks old now. And we just had one in Claremore. I know we have Pawnees in Claremore. So let's get a plan together, folks, and bring it to us at our quarterly meeting, and let's revisit this. Thank you.
Okay, Treasurer Chapman, do you want to
Would it just
make
table?
that your motion?
Well, just
Make
table
that your
it?
motion to table until the quarterly council meeting?
Yes.
And then Councilwoman Kimball, do you second or do you concur?
I'll second that. Yes, I just want a plan and
Hold
ASAP.
on. Okay. Secretary Gardefee?
No, I just think that you're right. I mean, this has already been a while now, so we do need a plan instead of having to come back every time, because we're not meeting a lot, every 2 weeks. So that we shouldn't have to revisit every storm that comes along to say, yeah, let's send them some cards. So, if you can come up with a great plan, I think that's a good idea for this Saturday, because the sooner the better. So I agree that we should come up with a plan so we don't have to keep revisiting this an emergency or not.
Even the thought that, we have beef here, you know, that we can supplement. I mean, there's a lot that can be done, so we just need to get outside the box and think it and bring it to us on Saturday, please.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilwoman Hare?
So the 3 applications that have been submitted or received, there's emergency assistance to take care of it, right? Okay.
But that's what she had noted, that there is emergency assistance available. However, they can't purchase food, and whatever assistance they need is only payable to a vendor.
So my concern is, do you know how many of those 3 need food?
One of them did, and Tiffany went ahead and helped them just because they needed food.
Thank you. Anything else, Councilwoman Hare? Okay, I just have a comment too, because this is talking about ARPA allocation from the first time that it was allocated. Have those funds been deobligated from that first allocation? So that,
Well, it did not come to the budget committee
so that
because it was
probably needs
under
to
the,
be- that probably needs to be addressed as well, if there was a final number of cards utilized to make that the actual amount.
Right, and so we went to the budget committee to purchase the cards. Now we have just the remainder of the cards. So
Yeah,
that's where we're at
but
now.
that's what I'm saying. So there's 125 left, so however many were used, that amount needs to actually go on the resolution so that can be deobligated and put back into ARPA allocation for a different appropriation. Okay. If no further comments, let's call for the vote. To table until,
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman,
yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Aho.
Gene Evans,
Yes.
Tammy Kimball.
Yes.
okay, item number 4, Land and Property Committee recommendations. Item A, approval of Dannebrog Pawnee Arts building lease. Good evening.
Good evening. So this was, this was from Jimmy, a recommendation from him. And so all I did was type this up and I presented it to our property committee, so which they, approved it. Thank you.
Approved for recommendation, I'm going to assume.
So we have the lease in front of us. Are there any questions for Mr. Leading Fox?
Yeah, so
Yes, Councilwoman
I'm the,
Kimball.
yeah, I co-chair the property committee, and I think the committee was just really delighted that we had somebody that actually wanted to keep those, that building occupied, and, it's always good to have a presence in a building. And it came from property as a recommendation. I'm good with it. Donna, did you want to echo anything?
They're really losing their population in the town. I hate to say it's, appearing to be a dying town, but, they had that 6-foot flood go through, and so the repairs have been, a result of that, the renovation of it. So it would be good to have it occupied. It's been sitting there for a while, and it's been ready. So yes, I recommend it.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Got a motion on the floor to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Got a motion by Councilwoman Butler, seconded by Vice President Canujo. If no further discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho?
Yes.
George Gardner, yes. Carol Chapman?
Yes.
Cynthia Butler?
Yes.
Donna Hare?
Uh-huh.
Gene Evans?
Yes.
Sammy Kimball?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you, council.
thank you. Item number 5, approval of human resources consultant contract, The People's Perspective LLC.
Yes, this is from a RFP that we put out. We submitted an RFP request for proposal on Wednesday, January the 3rd. We received proposal submissions, and we reviewed them. We did interviews on January 22nd, and then the selection that we made was the people perspective. I visited with the HR committee chair, Councilman Kimball, last week. We went over the proposal, and this is what people perspective would be doing for us. They would be doing procedural and process audit and associated resolutions, onboarding and orientation, offboarding, employee relations support, employee leave support, grievance policy/investigations, periodic policy review, HR projects as needed, payroll support, benefit support, performance management support, compensation benchmark data analysis, and then if we need to, one-on-one employee coaching. The retainer fee would be $5,200 per month. I'm sorry, $5,250 per month, and that's inclusive of 35 hours of service per month.
Okay.
Councilwoman Butler?
I have a question on that, because the document that we have says monthly retainer, and it says $150 per hour, and it doesn't have the number that you just quoted. So that was my question from the document. And then it goes down to hourly as needed, $175 per hour. So we don't have the updated document that has that number in there.
What form does she have?
Right. I would like to speak to it because I had
Six.
I did, as the HR chair and business professional for 52 years in corporate environment, I have been privy to HR development. My degree actually has an emphasis in organizational management, business management. So I felt it incumbent to ensure that this nation had the best process in place for HR. I'm a big proponent for business partnerships. We are a small organization, and in order for HR to run fluently and effectively, we would have to have a few bodies in there, probably 6 people really to staff our HR team, and unfortunately we don't have that. It is more practical financially. It makes a good business sense to have a business partner. Some of the things that Ms. Gover and I discussed was the terms. They were set at a net 15 days, which is just ridiculous. I think whatever our financial policy states, I think it's either 30 or 45-day net is the way that we're going to go. People perspective came back and they acknowledged that request and they changed it. We also have an HR committee, and the HR committee are responsibilities and charter for that committee is to write policy and processes for HR. So people's perspective will not be doing that work for us. It's also been noted that the executive office paid $15,000 to have that HR policy rewritten by a group at Gallagher that was never brought to committee. We've never approved it through council. It's just been sitting there. So the one of the charters of the HR committee is to sit, and I almost had a quorum last Wednesday, but I didn't. We're going to review. We're going to parallel what we have in place today, which Gallagher wrote for us last year, and we're going to compare those notes, and we will come up with something that will be a median of both of those processes, and bring those to, once approved through the committee level, it'll come to council level for approval. I want to be straight and forward that that is not going to be the work of People Perspective because we've already paid for that once. Secondly, the onboarding and offboarding process is going to be wonderful. We need collaboration between our IT team and the HR team, as when we bring a person in, we don't want that person to just be sitting at a desk for 3, 4, or 5 days without hardware. So the communication between those two teams is imperative, and we're going to have that put in place as well, for offboarding as well. Whether it's an involuntary termination or a termination, we want to have that in place, that that hardware is brought in, that it's locked down, that we are able to transfer that data to another laptop for that person transitioning in. And I'm telling you guys all of this because we've taken the HR director's salary through December 31st. And so it's going to be a 6-month contract that we're doing right now. See how they're doing? Let's kind of weigh it out, maybe like September, October. How are we doing? If we're really happy with it, maybe we just move forward and keep them, for a 12-month period. And I'm pretty certain that we're going to be very happy. This is a 5-woman team, all SHRM certified, all educated, and all within the certifications of the SHRM certification program for HR professionals. I'm really confident that this is a great package. They are also going to be doing an employee satisfaction survey, which I think is imperative. We need to test the water and know the temperature of our employees. We want them to be growing. We want them to be successful, and we want them to feel empowered to do their job, and that's how they're going to do it. They're also going to be taking a look at our org chart and ensuring that we have the right people in the right places and doing an assessment of that. They'll be working with J.D. Young to incorporate their software, HR software application to make sure that it fits within our architect of IT, and to make sure that they have, so HR, People Perspective, J.D. Young, and our HR staff, IT staff will all sit together to make sure they're all on the same page and that it all fits. They'll be working on temp to perm, the staffing. I think they're going to be really, really good. The only thing that I've asked Jennifer to do is to ensure that we do not exceed the 35 hours of service. Are you with me? Okay.
Are you saying it again?
Yeah, I'm kind of talking. Thank you for your attention. I want to ensure that they have the 35 hours of service.
Sorry.
That they're working the 35 hours
Yes.
and not exceeding that.
Yes.
And you and I made that notation.
Yes.
So I just want to be on board with everything. And looking forward to it. My recommendation, council, is to approve this. I will make the motion. Thank you.
Okay, before we get to the motion, we're in discussion. Councilwoman Butler, we're going back to the question with regards to the payment terms.
Yes, that may be the wrong paper. In our packet has the updated. It says the quote is valid through June 1st, 2024.
Okay, can you just repeat the amount again so I can write it down?
Sure, it's $175, the billed hourly rate, and it is $52.50 per month.
And that's the retainer. $52.50 is the retainer.
$52.50 is the 35 hours per month retainer.
Okay, so what we have here is the proposal, right? We don't
Correct.
have the contract in front of us.
Correct. Well, this
And-
is the proposal. This is what they're proposing.
Yeah, this is what they proposed. However, Councilwoman Kimball had, outlined what they were going to do versus what they had proposed to do. So will that come in a new contract to us?
Courtney sent me that.
Yes, this is it.
Okay.
The one that's in the packet.
Okay.
Yep, and this is what Councilwoman Kimball approved to bring before the council. We can change it if you would like.
Hold on, let me just take a look at it.
Because this is the proposal. This has everything included.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't take out, what she had said, that HR committee and then we're going to review the policy and write the policy. And
Right.
it has their proposed pricing, however, it doesn't have
It didn't
what was
remove-
negotiated in
Yeah.
the final pricing.
It did, because I think it's kind of one of those, what do you call those? I know there's a word for it. The smorgasbord, I guess. You pick and choose how you want to, what you're going to work on next. And I think that this is just a piece of what they do, the audit. They're going to do an assessment and management audit to make sure that we have, the best business practices in place. Do we have an org chart? Do we have compensation benchmarking? If we don't, they'll do that. I will be working along with People Perspective. The HR committee will have a seat at that table. I think we've all decided that, along with the executive office. And I want to be very transparent. I was really reluctant to go with it because I was really miffed that we actually spent money on an HR policy that was never implemented or never even brought into council for approval. So the hourly rate is, the monthly retainer is $150 an hour, and that's the 52.50, right? And then after that, the additional hours as needed, which is on page 18, is $175 per hour.
So my question is,
Let's take it off.
my new question. So we don't even have the contract in front of us, so we're not here to approve the contract yet.
This is their what they called a proposal. This is their contract.
But
There's a signature block on the very back end of this.
See, I'm looking at the one on Teams. I don't get I don't get what you guys have in front of you.
Okay.
So
It's the same
thing.
thing. It's just updated numbers.
I wasn't seeing that.
I think they're just calculating 150 times 35 an hour and giving the amount. It's not stated in here.
Correct.
But that was my same concern, is that we don't have an actual contract that states, just what we stated, that we're going to just do it for 6 months with the actual specific term limits. And and even if you write that, I would just put, that it may be extended.
With the
because you're
potential
gonna review-
extension.
Yes, with the.
So
For
what
12
this says is, at the end of 6 months, the retainer will continue automatically month to month at the quoted hours below until A, client notifies the People Perspective of cancellation request in writing with 30 days notice, or B, client requests an adjustment to the hours of service per month going forward.
And I'm agreeable with that language, but like I'm saying,
Yeah.
whereas in here is still identified all the services that they could potentially provide. If we were just to sign this, it doesn't note that we're not writing policy, we're not,
Correct.
So if we could do some kind of red line or something before you actually sign the contract to state that that's not going to be a part of the process.
So Jennifer, tomorrow, let's you and I sit down, let's figure out what we're doing, and let's bring this back in on Saturday.
First part of it.
Okay?
Okay.
Let's bring it back Saturday, let's get it all cleaned up, and we'll just, have your People's Perspective create a contract.
Okay.
Okay?
And
then we can delete those areas that they're not going to be working on and highlight those. And I think we decided that we would go ahead and prioritize the work. Okay?
Yes.
I think it's really a great deal. I hope you guys can get on board and read it and get your head around it, because it's going to be really good for us.
Yeah, I
Thank
don't
you.
think the concern is with them doing the work. I think it's
Yeah.
just that it's not outlined in
I
with
understand.
the amounts and the terms, so.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
so
it would
you
also
like
be
to put that-
beneficial because, Pawnee Nation has a format that we've been using for years, and I think we brought it forward to the council previously of contracts that we bring forward. So it was kind of weird to see it in the format that it was in. It wasn't laid out in order, I guess is what you could say, because we put in there, and I don't know, it was all confusing with all the stuff at the very end, so.
Okay.
That's the only thing that I'm mentioning, so, but yes, please bring it back and let's clean it up, and that way it's straight to the point on what the services that they're
That's
providing.
good feedback.
And how much that it is.
Yeah.
So can I get a motion to table?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
The motion by Councilwoman Kimball, second by Councilwoman Butler. If no further discussion, we'll call for the vote, and we do have that it's coming back on the quarterly council meeting agenda.
And
Yes.
carve out some time, Jennifer, tomorrow morning, and I'll work with you.
George Gardner, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Uh-huh.
Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Okay, item number 6, Resolution 2423, Property Division Procurement for Property and Casualty Insurance.
I'm back. Okay, so we sent out RFPs, I want to say the 1st of April. We gave them 30 days to, respond, so they did. There was only one that did respond, so we decided to extend it another 2 weeks. So within that time, there was 2 others that did show up, and I believe all 3 of them have already, handled our business before. So I want to say it was May 14th, 15th. We had interviews with them, with the Brown & Brown, Gallagher, Sullivan Insurance. So, from that, it was the executive director was in there, myself, and James Rice, acting finance director. And from out of that, we had recommended and we had chosen, actually, it was Sullivan to do that, to handle our insurance. So, it's going to be out of, on July 1st, it's supposed to be renewed. So we're kind of, within the crunch time. So, and then, all of them, all 3 of them said that there was going to be an increase this year of 6%, which would put it almost at $275,000 for all 3 of them. So we recommended Sullivan be the one to handle that. She was really pretty awesome. She had come out before and done assessments on all our buildings. She had said that any kind of claims that were sent, she would personally come out and do an assessment on, whatever claims that we do have, which, I kind of like. And then the fact that she's in Ardmore and she hand-delivered her proposal to us, really spoke volumes to me as well. And she was pretty straightforward and blunt to the point, and I love that. I love that with people, and she once she said she would provide training for us. One good thing is she would provide defensive driving for all employees as well, in order to help us get our personal insurance down. Now, along the same lines with our tribal insurance as well. So she's pretty good. I think
Do you have
that's
any
it.
questions for?
Nope, pretty straightforward.
If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2423, selecting Sullivan Insurance.
I'll make a motion.
I'll
Had
second.
a motion by Secretary Gardapi and a second by Councilwoman Butler. No further discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardner, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Uh-huh.
Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank
At this time, thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
At this time, we're moving to item number 11, executive session. Can I get a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Got a
second.
motion by Councilwoman Butler, second by Vice President Canuho. Let's call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardner, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Uh-huh.
Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Man, that's awesome. Yes.
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 I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2220 with revisions. And I don't know what the revisions are. I didn't write them down, so I would hope that somebody would get those to Jamie with revisions. And then we did make a couple of revisions, I think, just a few minor things, Jamie, to the document, so we'll get those to you as well.
Right.
I'll second that.
Councilwoman Butler, second by Vice President Canuho, to approve Resolution 2420 PTDC Articles of Incorporation with changes. No further discussion. We'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardner, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Uh-huh.
Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Okay, item number 2, approval of Resolution 2407, Attorney General selection.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2407, Attorney General selection.
Second.
Okay, with changes.
Correct, with changes.
With changes.
Got a motion on the floor by Vice President Canuho,
I'll second.
seconded by Secretary Guardpie, to approve Resolution 2407, Attorney General selection with changes. And then specifically, it is to strike the S after attorneys, as we're contracting with a single attorney. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth whereas. That would make it read, the attorney has submitted a proposal. And then on the sixth whereas, after effective, it will read June 1, 2024. And if you didn't get all the changes, I can give you my document, Jamie. No further discussion. We'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardner, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Uh-huh.
Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Item number 12, open forum. Do we have anything for open forum?
This is Sammy. Yes, I just have something I'd like to mention. I noticed that we went through a lot of updates this evening, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 program updates, and I'd ask that we do this during our quarterly meetings in the future. It seems like they're going to have to do it again on Saturday anyways, I think. But it took a lot of time, and I'd like to, although I appreciate it, I'd like to have written reports. That would be good unless something's really shaking or shattering. Otherwise, I would say if we can minimize them maybe to 2 or 3, and that way we're not here so late. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Councilwoman
Sammy.
Kimball. Councilwoman Butler?
Yeah, I just have one thing, and I wanted to congratulate some of our employees who graduated last week from Pawnee Nation College. I wasn't able to attend, but I do want to thank the college for inviting us. I know we all got those invitations, but and forgive me if I missed you, but I did write down a couple of the names that I saw in the video. So I want to recognize Louise Stevens, Stephanie Sewell, Tiffany Morgan, Rhonda James, and Brandy Lightfoot. I think all of them work in our departments here at the Pawnee Nation, and that is awesome. Congratulations to all of you guys. I'm so proud of all of you for doing that.
I took one for the team. I was there with Dr. Evans, yeah.
I do have to say, the valedictorian speech,
Oh my
I think
gosh.
was the best valedictorian speech in any university.
Impressive, yeah, it's great.
Just very impressive. Oh, goodness.
Jaya
Good,
Marks.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, very bright. Yeah. Scholar.
Anything else? Yes, Jamie.
So we've had several comments on Facebook, and some of them are geared towards the program updates. I believe this is in reference to behavioral health. It says, do you have job descriptions for every job that will be needed? And that it wasn't mentioned of the education and training programs. Another question asked was, Treasurer Chapman, when will we receive a detailed report on all expenditures for the ARPA funds? Another question asked was concerning the behavioral health facility. Did you reach out to any Native-owned or run facilities out of state that service both Native and non-Native clients? Another comment is, congratulations to the tribe for bringing in expertise to revamp the tax commission and requisite policies to build a strong foundation for building a good tax base first, the tribe. They appreciate the good job that Chris McCrae always does for the tribe. The tribe should consider creating an incarcerated reentry program to reintegrate those being released back into the community. There is funding for this through the Department of Justice. Are we training or plan to train or provide education for our young people to handle the jobs that will be created as a result of the much-needed ambulance services? Speaking of infrastructure, are there any plans for providing clean water? The water in Pawnee is horrible. We are still waiting on a report to learn how all ARPA funding was expended. Please advise. Consider a change to policy to state that food may be allowable expense in the case that food is needed due to acts of God. They love the work that Ms. Electa is currently doing. And then just a reminder that not everybody is on social media.
Okay, can you repeat that first one? It was about the education programs.
Exactly why we need to get on it now.
How do we want to address these?
President Nettle.
How do we want to address
Yeah.
the comments on Facebook?
So I can probably answer some of them.
Yeah.
So we'll go with, speaking of infrastructure, are there any plans for providing clean water since the water in Pawnee is horrible?
Yes, and we are doing 2 grants. One of them right now, we're working with Amy, which we went to planning for, and that's for building a potable water and freshwater treatment plant. So yes, that's our priority for our infrastructure plan.
But is that Pawnee Nation?
I'm sorry?
Is that just Pawnee Nation, or is that City of Pawnee?
That's Pawnee Nation, but that's for everybody, though.
Okay, so you're working with the City of Pawnee to do that?
We will.
Okay.
Yes,
I think
yes.
that's what I'm trying to clarify, because it sounds.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because
Okay.
they're worried about city Pawnee, city water.
But that's the plan, is that
Okay.
our utility commission would do
So
everything.
So eventually we'll. oh,
Yes.
Good, great.
Yes.
Wanted to make sure that was
Yes.
clarified. Thank you.
Are we training or plan to train or provide education to our young people to handle the jobs that will be created as a result of the much-needed ambulance services?
Yes, and we're working with Pawnee Nation College for that.
And the tribe should consider creating an incarcerated reentry program to reintegrate those being released back into the community, and that there's funding through the Department of Justice.
Yes, and that's one of our plans. We wrote into our opioid plan, also with what Electa is doing, is getting data first. We need data because data equals money. Once we get data, what our community looks like, then we can do our reentry plan. But that's exactly one of the things that she'll be doing. Also, hopefully, being able to do conversion courts. Conversion courts is giving the alternative of instead of a judge putting someone into jail or prison, converting that sentence to treatment. And so allowing that to be an option for judges to use in court.
I'd also like to speak to that. As the HR committee stands up, we are also going to put into policy a reemployment program for those offenders that are coming out of prisons, those with felonies that aren't heinous, if you will, and try to rehab them through employment. That seems to be one of the better solutions for them, is to be able to have a job here within our nation. They've paid their price, they might as well go to work.
Did you reach out to the Native-run and owned facilities out of state that service both Native and non-Native clients for the behavioral health facility?
Yes, that's one of the things, the outreach that Ascension is doing in Bryan.
And then, do you have job descriptions for every job that's needed for the behavioral health facilities, and that you didn't mention the education and training programs available?
Yes, so the job descriptions are based off of the licenses that the facility has to have. And that's one of the things that we've been researching. We've been working with IHS. Terry's been really good about sharing with us how many licenses he has to have, how we had to get them, and then what was the process of that. And then Ascension has a whole list of job descriptions. In fact, I remember them sharing that on one of the slides that they presented last year. So yes, they have all of that.
So then the other ones are, I guess, geared towards council. Well, Treasurer Chapman, when will we receive a detailed report on all expenditures of the ARPA funds?
Currently, we are getting ready to produce the Chodix paper. When will that come out? We can have it included in that Chodix paper. We have not spent all of the ARPA funds yet, but we are nearing the date that we have a deadline to spend them. But we can go ahead and pull all the resolutions out where we spent ARPA funding, which is listed in the Chodix paper and the last Chodix paper. We can go ahead and pull them out separately and include it in this one. So, yes. Yes, we can. I'll give it finance, and we can put it in the quarterly report also, which we have our meeting Saturday. And whenever we get that ready, we can post it on Facebook also. A more condensed report. Yeah, and the website.
Thank you. At this time, we are to item number 13, set the next meeting date, which I believe has been stated as June 4th, 2024. Oh,
over there, June 1st.
oh.
Motion to A, isn't it?
No, our special meeting, yeah.
Almost walked out. No, but I hate to put a wrench in the insurance deal. I forgot to mention I would like to do a 5-year contract with Sullivan. So I don't know how you guys want to address that or what. How?
You would just have to refer to the fiscal policies and see if that's allowable.
Okay, all right, thank you. And if it is allowable, then go ahead and do it?
Then you would.
Or have to
let's
come
see.
back to you guys?
Yeah, you would have to, I had to look and see what what's the language say? 2023. It just said for approval, right? I don't
Yes.
think it had
Yes.
terms in there, did it? Yeah, it doesn't have terms in there, so it would
Okay.
just be whatever's in the contract for signature.
Okay, so I'll check with that then. All right, thank you.
Yeah,
That's
thank
all.
Okay, and just to clarify, the next meeting date will be June 1st for our quarterly council meeting, which is at 9 a.m. here, Pawnee Nation Multipurpose Building, and then the next special meeting will be on June 4th, 2024, at 5:30, Pawnee Nation Multipurpose Building. Anything else from council? If nothing, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion.
Got a motion by Secretary Gardefee. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Go ahead.
Got a second by Vice President Canuho. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, we're adjourned at 9:25 p.m. Sorry.